We feel very much part of the family, so we don't think we need self-introduction here. Even though the program we say it's parenting, we might not touch that part yet. The reason is we want to start from the very basic of it, okay? For example, like this building, it's really nice, but the foundation is very important, okay? The four cornerstone is very important. So in order to be a good parent, you need a very good foundation. We need a very good foundation, okay? So we're gonna start from a very basic. So today we might not even touch parenting class, okay? We might not even finish talking about myself or yourself, because that's the basic, that's the foundation. So to begin with, we say you, okay? Like in our doctrine beliefs, there's like Father, Son, Holy Spirit, 3 in 1, Trinity, okay? When God created human being, He created us in the image of God. When it says image of God, I don't think it's the face or the height. Because if God created us like His face, you'd be like, how many faces did God have, right? But I think He made us with the Trinity version of us, which is spirit, body, mind, or spirit, mind, body, okay? So in order to be a very productive person, in order to be a healthy person, these 3 things has to balance, okay? In 1 John chapter 5, verse 7 and 8, it's also said that we are witnessed by 3, okay? There is Holy Spirit, water, and blood, okay? So whenever God works, it's in 3 in 1. Do you guys get that? Yes. That's the foundation of it. So most of the time when we become Christian, we focus on this and we ignore these 2. Okay? So with the studies that have been done, it is learned that sickness, like 30% is stored in the body, the 70% of the real sickness comes from the mind. Does it make sense? So these 2 are very important as much as it's important to the spirit. So these 3 has to be balanced. Okay? You cannot be over-spiritualize everything. You are still in flesh and blood. If you spiritualize everything, something's going to go wrong. Okay? I've been dealing with some of our parents who think that by prayer, by fasting prayer, everything will be fine. No, it's not.
I'm gonna put some stuff into there because I'm a person of prayer and I love praying, and I mean I could spend a few hours in prayer just praying. So I'm all about prayer and I'm all about worship and all of that, but at the same time I also take my medicine. You know what I mean? Like I do my spiritual, but because I went through cancer treatment, my thyroid got messed up, so I have to take medicine for that. I mean, yeah, I pray all the time for it to go away, but it hasn't gone away, so I take my medicine, okay? But I also make sure that when it comes to my mind, I'm not very stressed, okay? I gotta watch my stress level, okay? Because if I don't, then I'm sitting there like, Swan David, you know, I start yelling at him, or I'm like, oh, Trinity, why'd you do that? And I get really upset, and I'm like, wait a minute. That has nothing to do with what they're doing. It has to do with me and not releasing my stress. So, sorry. So, like when it comes to the mind, it's facts, right? So, the facts are I am stressed, right? Let's say I went to work and...
It depends on the foundation, okay? Mm-hmm. The 4 corners and 2 people. A foundation that keep gale. We piong what piong chat from the I have a foundation that keep the we people piong chat twice away. More. Tuadana, he Pasiana, Patapa Hasiato, 3 in 1. No. Tuadana being the Bola, Limle, and Surang Bola Chipin. Imeri Puabidia, okay. Lung Simha, Pumpi, that's spirit, body, mind. More. Tuachala, First John, chapter 7, verse 7 8 about the young witness de chipan lapin si santo khasyang to tui to ten hi jeve. So if you look at the Bible, it's always 3 in 1, 3 in 1, okay? So you and I, nang le tapin pa tapa khasyang to thumgom khat pasya na ma abhai mga pasya lim surang ki bol natin nakha napun binalon sim to atin na mihingang bole. Okay? Tayo po na hinakagwa pin tupilo eve. Nabali gwa na tupi sa lezong piang lo, na lungsing gwa na tupi sa lezong piang lo. Ay ang iten tunpen at sidam ko na eve. Okay? He in foundation zone mo. A corner stone tepen. Akitwa aki level siya ainom kipai. Okay? So in the same way, if your spirit, body, and mind are all balanced, then you would become a healthy person. Okay? Nida nga ay Christianity ito nga, Christianity ito natin pero everything is fine. Dito mo, mi can atin sa tuwing may uno no. That's wrong. Tu siya nga to, it's no. Tu na, mi can atin, okay, if you're truly the Son of God, if you're a truly believer, if you truly accept Christ, mo, napiang tak le. Lung simnan na may ilaw dihite, depression na ilaw dihite, kakam may ilaw dihite, deep ko tayo ilaw dihite, kasi ang puto na sumami tayo. That's wrong. Ito asong maglaw eh. Me, now we still have depression, we still have anxiety. Okay, we have to accept that.
It's kind of hard to follow after Zopal because I have no idea what he just said. So how am I supposed to follow that? So anyway,
I'll translate.
Did you translate to English?
Yeah, I don't know.
so I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Anyway, but yeah, like we have to always like to be a whole person. Okay, we want 100% of ourselves, right? So this, I'm not a mathematician, just to let you know. My worst subject was math. I'm just gonna let you know. This is like 33 point some percent, right? This is 33 point some percent and 33 point some percent, right? So to have all of it to be 100% you have to address each one.
Mitsidam ma mani idanga mo khapung pilung simpen za na hitina na nakalam jong so tumle point ongi ngai mo nalung sim chidam la jong so tumle point bang zaya mong ngai na pumpi chidam la jong so tumle point bang zaya mong ngai to ating gom changa za chidam ni.
So if we look at person number 1, this person is like really cool. Like they actually pray on their own time. They go to church. They do events. They do all these things. Okay, so they're pretty cool with God, right? So they got that 33 point some percent, right? Then what they forget to do is when they go to church, they eat all the donuts and they eat all the stuff, and they don't ever really work out because they don't have time for that, right? So maybe they have only about 10% here, okay? And when it comes to mind, they actually, like, they talk about their stuff, they go to counseling, they deal with their stress, they know coping skills, you know, all that stuff, so they're good with that, right? But that doesn't make up 100%, that's low 100%, which low I know means negative, right?
Gente na mi khatpen mo akhala ma khami ma thu jong ngem tang an tang kho nga jong pai tang biakin jong pai tang som thum na thum chi ma chimi mo aya wa apum pilang pena biakin ko nga dona dok chan dona khum ne mang go apum pi ane ka don pen ki sum lo we mo to cha nga jun khum khong nei te mo aya wa ya alung sim la ma pen lung sim chi dam ni nga jong counseling khong pai ke ina hi the bang bang to jong som thum le thum bang ngai aya ga za tum to lo bang ya mi chi le ya ne le dona ma ki sum lo discipline nei lo mo.
But then you have person number 2, who they go to church and do things, but they're not there. You know what I mean? They're not really connecting. They're kind of like they're on their phone, they're doing their own thing, their mind is somewhere else, stuff like that. So let's give this person like about 20%, right? And then when it comes to their body, they take their medicine because they got high blood pressure, so they take their medicine, stuff like that. So, and they work out and they try to eat right. I mean, yeah, every so often you need to have that donut, but not all the time. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, every so often they do, but they basically hit that mark, okay? Whoa, that's on the other side. See, I told you I'm bad man. So anyway, and then when it comes to the mind, they know the coping skills. They know all the things they have to do. They kind of work it out. You know, they kind of, okay, baby, I need a moment. Mama had a bad day. I need a moment. So they do their own thing, stuff like that. So they're doing pretty good with that, right? But it's still, you're still missing something.
Ki khom jong pai aya ki khom cha jong akhalam jong to za ve khol lo phone khong inen lelina amina mo mi mu na ki lo din cha na ki khom mo to pen so thum ga jo lo aya ga apum pi ai le a workout khom ko za tang jong lo jong phana ka ne na to cha ong pa pa ti ke ve to cha ka zo pa zo ong ti ke ke le le mo it's okay right thank you. So, alung simzong pongman mo, kaya nga zala zolo.
And then we have person number 3, okay? That they go to church, they really focus on Christ, they're really good with that, all right? So we got 33 on that one. And then with their body, they work out, they get up every morning, they do their thing, they eat what they can, you know, well, not everything they can, but they eat good, okay? So we got like 33%. But when it comes to the mind, like they get stressed at work, they don't know coping skills, they don't want to face it, they don't want to tell anybody about it because they feel shame about it. So they don't really want to say, hey, you know what, I'm really anxious, I'm really like stressed out. So they don't tell anybody. So let's give them like a 15%. Still, we're missing something.
Atum na pa chu khalama hoi mo kumpia jo hoi ta ki em ko hoi aya ga ung sim lam pe na counseling to like no counseling to me hai tia ni ji da na ta counseling pai hun lo mo to pen za la ron lo.
And I'm just gonna let you know, somebody that seeks counseling is never crazy. It's the people who don't seek counseling that are crazy.
Counseling pai hun lo ye pe na hai lo so na counseling pai te pe hai lo so na counseling pai lo te pe amawi.
But with person number 1, they're lacking in here, right? So what do they need? What do they need?
Health.
Yeah.
Health? Yeah, but how do you get health? Exercise, stuff like that, right? But they need somebody to kind of help them through that, right? So they need a doctor.
Yeah, doctor.
Okay?
So go see the doctor.
Yeah, they need to go see a doctor to get that help, to get that stuff, right?
Nung kuma chu Amy pasal khat mo achidam ma mai ve aya ga thao simina nang kien sakim na bipiong de hi chi chu na na ke bang ma pia ta nam lo ki ka chi na mi chi and it happened and he died with a heart attack. Okay? Ignore more.
Now, person number 2, he's lacking in spirituality, right? So who does he need to see?
Yeah, pastors. You have to go to the pastors, yeah.
He has to go to the pastor and try to figure that out.
Yeah, ni na pen khalama tasamo pasya ng melo au nazum har lo chi te pen counselor te kya pai ding lo doctor te kya pai ding lo pastor si kam te kya pai ding mo.
Okay, and number 3, if he's lacking in the mind and he's still feeling anxiety and everything else, who does he need to go see? Counselors.
Atum na pa pen mga pataw thi dim ko thi mang sia chi ko ngai ile counseling pai na mo toy mana. So these 3 are not against each other, they're together. Okay, it's like 3 wheels of a car.
It's like saying God in a sense, because God is resembled in the Bible as being the wonderful counselor, and it's also he's the healer, he's the physician, and then he is the guide, he is the shepherd.
Yeah. So today, parenting, pasal hoy, zi hoy, nule pa hoy, ma chu, ki fix okay? So before we become a good parents, before we become a good husband, before we become a good wife, we have to fix ourselves first, our body, mind, and soul. Any questions? Don't know Pongla. Very good. Oh, so far so good? Okay. Do whatever you want. Okay. So, can a true believer have a mental problem?
Yes.
It's a question to you guys.
Yes.
Yes. How can that be?
Human being.
Human being.
Do you want me to jump in?
Yeah. Pian tak mi sumat wa ve pian na. Pastor khen khat na le ni tu no ba ham pha nei bo pastor si kam te pol in a council na tu pi da ke mo. Mi sumat pastor khen khat pe din counseling pe it's against spirituality da na nga isu no. It's not. He basically take them all. It's all aligned. We have to align it all together.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's not bad.
Want to go ahead?
Okay. See, because what happens sometimes when it comes to the mind, okay, we have to also look at the brain, and we also have to look at the biology of the brain. The brain is so fascinating. It is so amazing what the brain does and what it does for you. So when we deal with the brain, sometimes there's these things, okay? It matters. There's sometimes things on the outside, okay, that happen. Let's say somebody in your family died. Well, you're gonna be mourning, right? So that's normal, okay? There's nothing functionally wrong with your brain, okay? That's normal. You need your time. You need to talk to somebody. You need to get it out. You need to express, okay? I mean, even Jesus wept. You know what I'm saying? Like, and back then, the word wept was not, he sat there and went, I'm just teared up. No, he didn't do that. I mean, that's what it meant by wept, okay? It wasn't what we think it is. No, I mean, it was huge. So he actually was able to express it. So that's normal, okay? But let's say you're constantly being, bullied, okay? And I'm sorry, but adults can be bullied too, okay? Especially in the workplace, okay? I mean, y'all probably have faced racism and stuff. Oh yeah, it happens. So let's say that's constantly being shot at you all the time, right? But you can't really say anything because you're either too afraid or you don't really know what to say. Because I'm sorry, bullies are mean, man, and there are some times that they'll come up to you and they'll rah at you and you're like, I can't believe you said that. I don't know what to say. But I have hurt feelings, but I don't know what to say. Do you need to translate any of that? Okay.
We keep lost now.
These are like bad
We are so excited, sometimes we forgot to translate.
I'm sorry.
Ama mi ni tipe ina sem na ho azong mi nong simmo mo ong simmo bol tuat te pen inga tam luat sia nga inong simpe nong na the mo tuai sia nga hi mai hi lung a causes tuai Kimberly gen ma ba it could be set namin ong bully zong ite mo set namin ong simmo bol zong ite ai kele atuam tom tampio mai ve tun ke na leng zong professional kahi hala khat ve kahi naam thik ma bang kisim mo ma mai in to ate pe thua kai ve if kai thua kai ve to ate pe en ya ilung sima again hiat ke le mo when we don't release those like stress and anxieties or whatever we have, it affects us so bad that based on the Bible in Ecclesiastes chapter 5 verse 3 it says Nanong himo same le namang se same ni sebe. In Ecclesiastes it says the more you're worried, the more you're anxious, you'd have more nightmares. More. So where do these nightmares come from in our body? It's from the mind. Okay. The reason is we have two parts of brain: conscious mind and unconscious mind. What's that?
There's many parts.
Yeah,
but
whatever you experience during the day, when you sleep, it takes rest. But the unconscious mind is still on process. Okay? So this is still processing. So when you fall asleep, it process what you have experienced during the day. Sunu na na to akhe pin na imu jela na mati se ina se na ye. To jan na manga pa ye. Okay, that's why you have bad dreams. Okay, so when you have bad dreams, when you wake up, you think about it again. Okay, oh kamang sila eh. Kamang atwa na niyo, oh itihita, oh what's going to happen tomorrow? What's going to happen today? I have a bad dream. So your brain continue to think about negative stuff. Okay, so as it keeps going on, you deprive yourself of sleep.
Yeah, I mean, basically, when you're thinking of all these things, because, okay, remember the Bible? My goodness, I really suck at people's names, to be honest, in the Bible. Who is the guy? Okay, I'm just gonna be honest. Who is the guy that, I think it was,
Interpret
who was it? My goodness, I really suck.
The one who interprets dreams?
No, I'm talking about like he fixed the goat's eyes on the thing, and they all turned white, and they didn't have any spots on them. What was that?
Lamont?
My goodness.
Leprosy?
No, I'll think about it later. Let me think of another example. Because when you focus on something, okay, it's going to produce that. Like, for example, when you went out and bought a red car, you can go around all of Tulsa and you'll notice other red cars. But before, you never noticed those red cars before, right? Or, like, when you... Sorry, go ahead.
Nakaisip na natin, muding na ibe. Gente na moto le dia tayo, moto kalapin red ko isa na ibe. Okay, moto red color mo gayki ibe mo chim na na ibe. Nung ka tiya nga chu, moto red tama muding na ibe. So because your mind focus on that.
And if you ever notice, like when you drive by an accident, you start to go in the other lane. Why? Because you're looking. So you're starting to go toward that what you're looking. And you're like, oh crap, I'm in the other lane. And then that's why everybody slows up when it comes to car accidents, because everybody looks, and then everybody starts going toward that car accident, and they don't even realize, they're like, oh, sorry.
Kasi nakaisip na napumpin sa siya mo, gente na moto sa kiwag siya na tungkat iya alangkat ilang enla ilong simipyan, ikutin ni tayo kala ilang kinaiya.
So basically,
our bodies,
whatever you're focused on, that's what you're going to produce. Okay, so if you're focusing on all these bad things that are being said at you at work or in school or whatever, you're going to be concentrating on those bad things, which is going to cause no sleep. Okay, because you're going to be freaking out. You're going to be thinking of it. You're going to be like, oh my gosh, I got to go to work tomorrow. I got to deal with that. Do you see what I mean? It's going to be no sleep, then you're going to have anxiety going to work, you're going to start having sadness because you're going to start thinking, oh my gosh, I really am a loser. I really do suck. Like, oh man. That's why in the Word it says meditate on God's Word night and day. Because when you meditate on His Word, those X out these, and it's a positive thing.
Zan ki muthelo zani muthelo cha ilung simong buai mo ki dip ko ki pata toy mana lai siam to pasian thu lung gel di nga chi pe pasian kamwal ilung gel chena hi ahoi lo ingai sut na te pen ki phia thi chi.
And then of course as a parent, because my daughter, the Bible has really big words sometimes, so she kind of stumbles on those words and she doesn't really know what those words are. I always tell her simple things. I always tell her that she is beautiful, that she is very smart, and that she is very brave, and that she is very wise and kind, right? So I always say those things to her, to the point that when I say, you know what, baby, you're beautiful, and she goes, I know. And I'm like, what the? What? Because I say it so much.
Chi mai chi mo to ben tun ka tan lu kyang me loi te ka chi ka thei ven chi ta mo to da na e nu le pa lu ki ta te kyang a mau le mau ki mu da pe ka chi tu ma to anu si mo om tam le mo ya a khwa kom ni na to just sleep like studies say that you're supposed to sleep at least 8 hours a night, okay? So
At
if
least.
you miss 2 nights, okay, your body knows, okay? So what happened is, after 2 nights of not having an 8-hour sleep each night, it says that your body is like a drunk driver. Your brain doesn't function as normal it is. So the more nights, the more sleepless night you have, you start hallucinating, okay? You start paranoid, okay? Paranoid is what you
They're
get
out to
done.
get me.
Yeah, what you get done. What part you get done. What part is second to one so more love talk na nung sim. Oh, he part get done, okay? Chidan mo, it starts from sleepless night, okay? But when we sleep, all our body take rest, okay? So we also have to take care of our body. That is sleep, okay? We have to take care of our mind through positive thinking.
And sleep is really, really important. I mean, a lot of people are like, oh, you know, we're older, we don't need as much sleep. Yes, you do, okay? You need at least 8 hours of sleep, okay? If you're not getting it, you need to get it, okay? Because you don't want to start having anxiety or depression or hallucinations or anything like that when it's not psychosis, it's just you not sleeping. So there's ways to actually go to sleep at night. Never play with your phone before, like an hour before you go to bed, okay? Because it's a bright light and it's telling your mind to stay awake. Because there's a chemical in your mind that's called serotonin. It's responsible for mood and everything else, right? So during the day, the serotonin is active, okay, because of the light and everything else. But when it starts getting dim out, that's when dusk comes, you know, and the sun goes down, it starts getting dim, that's when your body turns serotonin into melatonin. And melatonin actually makes you sleep.
Zan imut khamatupi napen sun jala hi ikwak pen set da re mo ikwak so chemical no serotonin kichi toina hi khova me wat jala ikwak so activate de set bangat pai sa de to pen nita ka jala hi serotonin ni chipen melatonin akila eve a switch kila eve, okay, on up and off. The reason is eight tepen pasianin zana imuding ang bolay suna hapding ang bolay, okay? Zana hapding ang bol tepen simbu bagay zana rabbit bagay mo rabbit kong zana wag de pasianin na bolay, okay? Bak bang zana atang de pasianin na bolay ay inin tepen pasianin suna hapding atang de zana imuding ang bolay. Pero na innocent na also like Kabewe, night si fine dollar ni tamzo sa immediate live. It really affects your chemical in your brain. So it's better to have day sleep than night sleep, because in the long run it will affect you. Okay.
So also, when it comes to all the negative thoughts and everything, it also prohibits. It increases the hormone of cortisol. And with cortisol, it inhibits melatonin. So then, if you're up at night and you're worrying and thinking and worrying and thinking, there's a problem. Okay? So it's because of this that's inhibiting this. Does that make sense?
When you're not bodily healthy, mentally healthy, who suffer? Your wife suffer, your husband suffer, your kids suffer. Okay?
It's not just you.
Yeah, it's not just you. That's why we want to focus on you today. Don't listen this for your wife or your husband or for your friends. Don't listen for yourself. Okay? Take care of yourself first. When we travel in a plane, if anything happens, oxygen mask drop, put yourself first and help others. Right? Oxygen Mas kaya nang kitwa potin na nalim chan midang painche mo midang panping ating panpin. It's the same thing. Nang kamo pa mind, body, soul na healthy na chidam kile. na insung effect din, nanupaka effect din. Okay? So it's very important to focus on yourself first. This is not selfish thing. Ipin ang masiyang layo yun. Nang natsidang po nga.
And I know a lot of our adults in our community like really suffer from not enough sleep.
Today mismo atamzo pin imut khamlo. Pia tanane ibyo.
I mean, I know our teenagers do too.
Khamlo teso mo, khamlo mo.
So we're just basically telling you all of this so you can see how they're so interconnected. They're almost one, but they're not one. Does that make sense? So they're very connected, and with this is also connected with the spiritual.
Hi kong hian na pin, hi pumpi na yung simpin, akizok na pin, umay tua ako hiya, hi pin item lo siya na, idelen so eh, tungen na nidang pet lamka, kami van mi kichilo na yun, natay kati na yun, chu kami hitai van mi hitai na, puan kayo lo si, puan ting song mo, lamu lasaw, ano na ko mo bonggong, atom na hunpi kanong gayo eh. Tote kasi ang gayo sila mo. Those are like over spiritualized, okay? Hindi ka kanila, oh, we don't need spirit. You know, you are a little God. You know, nang pasyan mo katite. At si Polo na yun. Body, mind, pendik taga-focus mo yun. Tuwate yung dictate, okay? So, amun na, ikite nga. You are the best doctor, okay? You know your body the best, okay? For example, like, I don't tell my wife, this is a confession, okay? It's a church. Zara, yesterday we had miscommunication, right? And I was so mad. I went to the room, and you know what I think? I said, why do I get so mad? Why? I question myself. Okay? So in my mind, what come up is like, okay, this morning I do this, I do that, I do this, I do this. She doesn't appreciate, she yell at me. Okay?
I didn't yell.
But she does, but to me she yell. You know what I'm saying? And I figured out that, hold on a minute. It's my mind. Tangay sunga mind mo na yun. Kaya pwedeng insunga kisanwa kayo. Okay? I feel like I did a lot, and I feel like she doesn't recognize. So when she said she doesn't hear, but to me it's healing, because I think it that way, I take it that way. We almost get into a big argument, but I step back, I think about it, and she explained to me like, honey, I don't slam the door, I don't yell at you.
I didn't even realize.
And then I said like, oh my gosh, it's me. Okay? Then the other thought that comes into my mind was like, I talk to God, okay? I say, there is a reason why God gave Kimberly for me. Okay? Pen na does that make sense? If you really love someone, that person will tick you off the most.
Oh, yes.
Natel siya mo na.
Yes.
Naitate tunga nakasiba hindi ngayon. Okay. That's why I kind of go back to my spirit side and say, okay, Kimberly is a gift from God. Okay? When you have a wife, a husband, it's a gift from God, right? And then God gives that person to you to help that person to become a better person. Okay? Kazino chu pasyanin gift ang piyato ama Kimberly Ben 100% pasyan na Paul na bang taka asu adala kay apasal azipan no kabetat ba ito. Okay? So I said this is not a mistake. I need to fix it. And I thank God for her, and we talk about it and we fix it. Okay? If we don't talk about it, we might not come today.
I mean, there's a lot in a marriage, communication, definitely. You always have to communicate to one another, because he loves to think that I mind read. I am not that talented. I do not know how to mind read. I have no idea. I am not a psychic. Nothing of that matter. So communication is huge. Plus, what he was mad about, I didn't even know he was mad about. I just knew he was kind of, so I was like, something's off. But I don't know what's going on, so I had no clue. So with him being able to sit down and we talk about it, that makes sense. And believe me, it wasn't a nice talk. It wasn't, hi, honey, I'm going to talk to you. We're going to talk about how mad I am. No, it was more like, yeah, so, well, this is how it is. Yeah. And I'm like, I didn't even know I did that. Well, you slammed the door. Well, I didn't even realize I slammed the door. I was trying to shut it. It didn't shut, so I had to push harder. That's what it was. And he was just like, well, you upset me. And I'm like, okay, I didn't mean to upset you. I didn't mean to do that. Okay. And then we just talked a little bit more. See, it calmed down. But at first it was, you slammed the door. So yeah, you're going to show that anger. You're going to show that stuff. But I had no idea, so I was like, okay, yeah, it's okay, it's all right. Let's do this.
So from yourself, now we're going to go to our relationship, okay? Parenting will come slowly because we need to fix those foundation, okay? And this okay, you guys might hate me when I say this, but it's biblical. If you don't believe it, talk to your pastors and get this very clear. This is mostly cookie chape or a problem. It's one of the main problems, okay?
Okay.
Think outside the box, okay? Don't look at our traditional, please. Think outside the box.
Do you want me to read something?
That's great.
I want them to see you. Oh, okay.
How about we raise this back?
In the Bible it says we become one. 1 plus 1 equals 1. Okay? The mathematics of God is very weird. 1 plus 1 plus 1 is 1. Oh, Trinity 1. 3 in 1. 1 plus 1 equals 1. Zero, zipa, 1 plus 1, 1. Okay? So when God says, when couples come together, they become one. I am not complete with my wife. I'm not complete. Butching no kay. Because he's on my work, butching no. Can you walk on pay home, we become one. Butching pan kay one. Okay? So what happened is, yeah, as you know, nule pam. Oh no, I need more. Yeah, I'm the parents. Yes. Kapasal nule pam tiyo. Itak tinga taong tiyo. Tate. Okay, nulam tayo yung sa kiwawa. Amy sumamo. Hipen pum katay. This is one. But we never save our oneness. We never protect our oneness. Okay? Inui paten tuong ni. Ipasal nule paten tuong ni. Ikala niyong tagwat sa wa mu baki ila yung buhay. Our main problem comes from our in-laws. Okay? When I say this, he katik jala na nuna paten simmo na zero. But if you keep this oneness healthy and strong, they are the one that's going to benefit. For example, me and my wife, we know this very clear, okay? So we never let anybody come into our marriage.
Not my parents, not his parents, not his family, not my family.
Not my culture, not her culture. We create our own culture. Okay? The reason is even within siblings. Okay? 4 or 5 we have to adjust. So when you marry someone totally from another family, even though we speak the same language, even though we speak from the same come from the same village, there is adjustment to be made. Okay?
Because men and women are totally different.
Yeah.
Right?
So, like, he tegel pen, pum khat na pen, he safeguard le He ten khat no favor. So you never become one with your parents. Okay? You never become one with your parents. Not even with your kids. Most of the time our kids get in here too. Itati hanga kitongat tamatami. Okay? Because we let them come in. And like, so what are you guys thinking? Is it yes or no or wrong or
I mean,
any feedback?
we also have to realize that when in the Bible it says that we become one, okay? Even though culture says that we need to respect our parents, okay? Because yes, we can still respect our parents.
Yeah, we'll respect.
Definitely.
It's not that about respecting.
Okay, there's no way I'm going to disrespect my parents or his family because his parents already passed away. So there's no way that I would disrespect his William, okay? So, but because we are one, we have to put kingdom over culture, okay? Can't spell, over culture, okay? So even though I'm going to respect, our parents, but I'm also going to value this the most because of God's kingdom. So I always put God first, okay? Then our family. Does that make sense? So if, let's say my mom says, oh, he's crazy, you get a divorce, whatever. I'm just saying. She would never say that, but I'm just saying. I would say no, because we are one. And God has told me that I'm supposed to be with him. Does that make sense? Because I asked God first. I didn't ask her first. This is not all white culture, so don't think because I'm white, it's all white culture. But in my family culture, you have to ask my dad to marry me, okay? But I asked God first. I didn't have him go to my dad first. I asked God first. I said, God, am I supposed to be with him? Let me know, show me signs. And he did. He showed me signs, miraculous signs. Then I said, okay, now you go ask my dad. So I always put kingdom above culture, okay? But we do respect our family. And because we're so connected, there's times I go up to him and say, when are we going to send money back home?
Yeah.
Like,
what's going on? Nung kumasa lang nga COVID laya chu ken kasom jong hilo kalom non ku kham eni taktinga na phataka tong the no peche jong phataka nga kisang the na imla ma te chu lungi mo me ji sum kha ko ji ken okay Sanakhang ni ka ji what ji no that tom lo ji ale li bang ang kha si hi inu pakala chidam chia ba mo okay? You guys need to get this. If you guys get it, think natatyo na makailaw kung siyempre kaya ba hi chidam kele mo. Amasa nang chu na chidam lai mo, na zipa chu chidam lai, na zinu chu chidam lai. Mentally mo, physically. Waksa na no pakamong chidam lai, hi natatyo na makailaw chidam ni. Tunita kay topic to parenting ay parenting suka ma ibolo pa mo. We need to do the foundation more.
And there's times when I'll notice that he's a little off than usual, and I'm like, have you talked to your brother lately?
Yeah.
I'm like, you better call your brother. You better, spend some time with your family on the phone, do some Zoom meetings or something. I'm like, we got to do something. And then when it was like COVID time, everybody shut down, right? So back home they couldn't work. Well, we could still work. So I was like, who needs some rent? Who needs some food? Who needs some money? Who needs some rent? I'm like, we need to send it over there because we need to take care of our family, okay? So there's no disrespect in the family at all. But I put God first, okay? Because before I ever say anything to him, I always ask God, hey God, what do you want me to do? How much do you want me to send? What's going on? What about this? And then I go to him. Does that make sense? And I'm just going to let you know, this right here, the devil is out to get you. Do you understand? So you need to make this mega solid. I mean solid, more solid than metal, more solid than the ground I'm on, more solid than the earth that we roam. You need to make that solid. Because if he can get you divorced, if he can get you to separate, you are going to affect every one of your children.
2-3 generations.
Generations. You're going to affect the parents, your parents, their parents. Oh, I told you about her. Blah, 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 blah. Oh, I told you about him. Do you see what I mean? There's going to be gossip all over the place. Just a bunch of hate upon hate upon hate. Does that glory God? No. That is not glory to God.
Even like, we have to safeguard our unity before God, okay? You know, our people, we love gossiping. We hardly come into our people, but people were passing judgment on me, okay? Oh, Azinu to Mikakteya, Lao Bese, Kongtimon. Oh, I'm out of time. They don't even see my house. Nobody ever visit us, okay? People love to talk about our relationship, but when we keep it very clear, nothing can come in. It has to be super solid. Do I make sense? Nanu pakalong chidam demo, ya inu ipate jo umu webe. Umu chiawa mo. Ama may na ongi webe. Tun kobang in our marriage, they're not very diverse, I would say, right, parents? Like
Parents?
Yeah. No, they hardly hang out with any other race.
I'm the black sheep of the family. I'm the one that everybody's like, where did she come from? Because I'm all about diversity. I love it. Anyway.
So when we're gonna get married, like the parents were like, what? Asian? Chinese? You know, they didn't think I'm from India, they think I'm from China. That's how much they are. So at first, like people start saying like, oh, maybe he won his green card, that's why he married your daughter. And after he get his green card, he will divorce. Okay?
But I knew that was not going to happen, and I kept telling my parents it's not going to happen because I asked God first.
Yes.
And God gave me, like, I'm telling you, 3 or 4 like positive signs that we were supposed to be together. So I was like, I'm not worried about that. I'm like, I'm not listening to everybody else. I'm going to trust in what God has told me, and we're going to go with that. So when you come together, like, there's a lot of things that you have to rub each other, okay? So to keep your marriage, your couple, okay? That doesn't mean that you guys have to break up. That doesn't mean that you guys have to divorce. No. God give your wife, your husband to you to help her or him to become a better person. Okay? Nazinu nazipaju pasyanin nang hoy taka nas zurwan dilang piyagay. Okay? But you have to come into the marriage thinking, how can I better him? Yeah. Like he is thinking, how can he better me? Yeah. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So it's not all about me anymore. Like when I was single, it's all about me. If you want it to be all about you, you need to stay single and not have kids. If you want it to be all about you. So because we're married, I'm like, hold on, it's not all about me anymore. It's about him. And then us working together. It's a give and take. So it's not all take and it's not all give. You know, like it's equal. So to keep this healthy, you need to make sure that you maintain it. It's like driving a car, okay? When you first bought a car, it's really nice. They give you free gas tank full, right? But when you still driving, you're running low on gas, you have to add gas, right? So for your marriage to become strong and healthy, you have to keep feeding the gas, okay? That's sinatun tungai na nupakarwa. That's situn lo pia nupakarwa. Okay, in order and it has to be a daily thing. Yeah, in order to do that, you have to know like the 5 love language. Okay, there's a 5 love language. But it's like almost time, so yeah. Maybe we'll continue with the love languages after a little bit. But it's a very like daily thing. You have to do this every day, and sometimes you have to do it 50 times a day. Because a man and a woman, no matter what culture you guys come from, no matter if you're from the same bay, it's still gonna be hard, okay? Because it's a man and how they work and how they think and how their brain is wired, and a woman who is wired totally different, right? So you're always gonna have to work on it every day. Okay. But we will take a little break and then we'll come back with the love languages. Is that okay? 15, right? Yes.
Yeah, let's come back at 12:15 and then
Well,
we'll have,
this.
yeah, we'll have 1 more hour, right?